Hi, this is Rolani. So, when it comes to my content, I've been thinking, well, like I should come up with a name for it. Well, I've had a name for the longest time, but I was still trying to find a better way to make it make sense. I want to make a content where I'm trying to figure out stuff, financial things, financial decisions. When it comes to money, it's one of the things where, like in South Africa or in Africa, we don't have the background that we need. We don't have the financial literacy that we need. So the name of my show, what I want to call it, I just want to call it "Figure It Out with Ru." You see, so I'd like to get straight to it. So today's topic, it's simple and it's familiar. Probably many of us or most of us suffer from it. You see, um, today's topic is simple. Not all of us come from the same background. Not all of us come from the same financial backgrounds. What do I mean by that? Everybody, most of us, we do know that we are poor. Most of us, we're trying to get out of this poverty. We do have people that do have money of their own. We do have people that are making it in life, uh, which is good for them, and I'm happy for them. But majority is we are suffering. Majority is the money that we are making. We're not changing where we're coming from. We're not changing the situations where we're coming from. So hence I decided on the topic here today. It's that not all of us come from the same financial backgrounds. What do I mean by this? You see, in the squad of friends that you have, in the squad of colleagues that you have, in an environment that you come from, speaking from a perspective of a person who comes from a place which is not developed, a village where like we don't have much to even work with, where we don't even have much to many people to look up to. So those are the things that I've had in my mind for the longest time. So yeah, man, I think we might as well get to it. So I've been thinking, man, ever noticed or ever realized that not all of us come from the same financial background? Other people are poor, other people have it nice, the middle class people, other people are rich, the spoiled brats. And no harm in it, no problem with that. I just like to speak to those who are trying to make it, to those who are not losing focus, to those who are not letting the panic, not the pressure gets to them so that they end up losing focus. You see, if we stop being in denial in terms of us not having the same thing, maybe as a nation we'll start moving towards the right direction with money. Maybe as a nation we'll get over this poverty at some point and start making the money that we wish to, the money that we plan to, the money that we aspire to have it someday. For an example, you find yourself that okay, you come from a poor background where like you might have, and you know what's the funny thing before I even go forward with this? Coming from a poor background doesn't mean that you're not smart. So having to come from a family that doesn't have much, it's besides the fact that you might be smart or you might have whatever you have. If you look at a poor kid, whenever they go to school, they have to work with whatever that is provided for them, as opposed to the kid that is coming from a middle class house, where like they have money to fund probably anything that they need in life. That kid probably could be going to a private school, you see, as opposed to a poor kid who's going to just a public school around, you see. So not none of these two gonna have the same thing that they wish in life. But then if it happens that you are coming from a poor family, but then you are working hard, probably you might get yourself out of that situation only if you never let the pressure get to you. You see, I'm at an age where like most of the decisions that I have to make, they have to be family based. Am I doing something to change where I'm coming from? Am I doing something to progress in life? Am I doing something to change my life so that my kids can have a better future? If you notice, everyone who's poor have this saying, I would like my kids to do better, have better things, and buy better things and acquire better things when it comes to life. We like making this saying of like, I would like to see my kids eating bologna, cheese, and all these things. You see, just because you are used to eating only bread alone. There are a lot of poor people out there who are still making reckless decisions where like you think you in a space where like you need to enjoy more when it comes to life, as opposed to being realistic to your own reality and not being in denial and trying to go through that. So for a poor kid that happens to be smart, I think you stand a better chance, even if when it comes to school stuff. As soon as you finish your high school, you stand a chance to win a bursary. Only if you studied hard enough to pass the exams or to pass the grade that you are in. So if you're in matric, for an example, and then you have distinctions, that a bursary might require for them to give you that bursary. You might get that bursary, as opposed to a middle class kid or a rich kid. They might take the bursary if they are smart enough and they passed, or even if they didn't pass as much but they just passed, their parents might take them to school. So we're not in the same space. So now the tricky part comes where like you see when we in it when it comes to the varsity level, most of us is where we start to being young adult. So you have to start making decisions that benefit you in life. But most of us are in denial to our reality. You find yourself trying to impress the friends that you hang around with. You find yourself being a victim to pressure. So whenever you're making a decision, it has to be you have to be seen. You have to do something so that they can say, oh, look at that person, or look at that one. Oh, they have nice things. But then where you come from is nothing. I'm not saying let's not enjoy our life. I'm just saying we can still do that, but then let's not forget where we're coming from, because that's one thing. You see, it might seem like I'm talking from a perspective where like maybe I'm judging or I'm just thinking that I know too much. But I kind of noticed that, or I've kind of figured out that uh the decision that is made by one in a society has the ability to influence the many, as long as there are people around you who are weak, in denial that they might wanna have what you have, and that's just not easier for them. But then with the little money that they get, they go and buy things that you want. As much as we might disagree to agree, there are those kind of people where like they don't mind buying stuff just because it's what's trending at the time, or it's what is being pumped in social media at the time. For an example, there's a lot of people, you remember the era of iPhones? There's a lot of people who went and buy an iPhone, but then if you use them, besides having to go to social media with this phone, besides of having to do the basic need, what is its advantage that is working for you? I mean, even me, I don't have a camera. I'm just using my phone to shoot this. So at least I'm trying to use this phone for something better. Yes, I know that I might not have many followers or stuff like that, but one day I hope that whenever I've managed to learn how uh, to make better content from shooting, editing, and everything, maybe by then I would have saved enough to buy the equipments that I might need. But then I'm not letting that stop me. So I'm trying to use what I have to work towards the future that I would like to have, as opposed to somebody that feel like they are pressured to buy what they don't have. You see, when it comes to rich kids, even if, for an example, when you are a rich kid and you are a smart rich kid, maybe you're not smart, but you are just focused and consistent. You might have parents that might fund you whenever you want to start a business, as opposed to the poor kid. The poor kid has to start from with whatever they have. They have to work with whatever they have, and for it to grow and change into something better, of which we have seen that. But then the bigger problem that we face as South Africans or as African is that society rules, majority rules. As soon as everybody in the society they are moving in a certain way, you're starting to feel the pressure that, hey, can I have that too? It's not the same. We're not gonna all have the same thing. We're not built the same way. We don't come from the same family. So financially, you might not afford. But the rich kid, financially, they might afford. Actually, they do afford. For an example, ever realize that there are those who come from families that are like middle class families? You find that the kid is able to drive at an early stage and have a car at an early stage. Probably they have the car while they're still in high school, or they have the car when they're in their tertiary level. But for you, you can buy a car, but where are you gonna put it? And the way society is so negative and so, I don't know what's wrong with us. We don't even mind to say, look, me, I don't want a house. Me, I don't want to change anything. I just want a car to make myself feel nice. Of which there's nothing wrong with that, but only if you're not having anything and you're still gonna depend on other people. I think there's something wrong with that. So it's best. So it is best to be realistic with your own reality. You see, if you being realistic to your own reality, I think you stand a better chance of improving. Maybe one day you can be the rich person. Maybe one day you can be the middle class folk who can afford everything for their kids and for themselves. You see, I've witnessed a lot of people where, like, just because you see others having something, you want to rush to go and buy that something. Not all of us can afford the same thing at the same time. Hence, whenever we become successful, we don't all be successful at the same time. Sometimes you must let others succeed in life, and then your time will come. But when it comes to success, one thing I figured out is that it needs focus, it needs consistency, it needs you to be realistic, it needs you to be focused to the dream. But if you're in denial, there's a higher chance that you don't even get to the goal that you want to get to. My message is simple. I just hope that someday, one day, somehow, somewhere, we actually start doing what matters. I hear a lot of people saying that government must come and develop where we come from. Who told us that everything must be done by government? Don't you think that if we come from a place where, like, we don't have that much pressure to feel the need of having to acquire something, materialistic things in life, having this fake lifestyle that we are living just so that we look better in these social media platforms, it's better for us to put our energy and focus on the right thing so that we can build for the better in our life. I think that's a better way to go about it. But then if we are as friends, we're not advising each other to do better. If we are as family, we're not advising each other to do better. If we're as colleagues or as society, we just let things and promote that kind of lifestyle and look for, I would say, others, they go to an extent of looking for just codes that's going to justify their reckless decisions. It's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But then now, when you don't improve and then the pressure start getting to you, you feel the need of, like, being a fake